Hi folks, Peter here from Ashton's Cars. Today I'm showing you around our 2011 Mercedes-Benz ML350 CDI. This is the BlueEFFICIENCY engine. It's the 3-litre diesel, which is mated to a 7-speed gearbox. This is the more powerful 231 PS model, so it's the latter engine, the last that they fitted to this car. It's actually 227 horsepower, but it gives this thing fantastic performance. 0 to 60 in this car is about 7 seconds, which for something that weighs the best part of 2.5 ton is fantastic performance. Really does pin you back in your seat. This is the sport model as well, so it's a very good looking car, finished I think in the best colour of white. It's got the 20-inch alloy wheels fitted to it as well, which look the part, fill those arches. And it's got the standard side steps on it as well, which you get on the sport model. I think these are a really good looking SUV. Hopefully you agree with me, and we'll have a little look around this particular one, which has done 147,000 miles, and have a look how it's worn, but also have a look at what this car offers you. Now, these have come down in price and they are a little bit of a bargain now, so they're quite a tempting buy in the sort of SUV market. I'm particularly keen on the sport models. They do look that much nicer, I think, than the more appealing than the sort of SEs and the standard MLs. I've been driving this one over the last 24 hours. I've been greatly impressed with it, and I do enjoy driving these cars. I do like a Mercedes, and this one's got the nice column shift automatic with that beautiful 7-speed gearbox. It's one of the nicest automatics out there. So, great thing about this car is it can tow 3.5 ton, like a Range Rover. It's got a tow bar on it as well, and it's got 833 litres of luggage capacity. It seats 5 adults in comfort, and as we'll see in a moment, it's got a whole host of luxuries inside, including heated seats in both the front and the rear. So we're talking Range Rover levels of comfort here. As you see, this particular model is in very good condition, apart from a very small crack in one of the reflectors here, which we'll replace. There's not really anything to detract from it at all. It's pretty much blemish free on the paint, no rust at all, and the wheels are in remarkably good condition. They are 20-inch wheels, which obviously is a big alloy, but it's a big car as well, so there's a fair chunk of tyre there as well, which obviously does protect the rims a fair bit. Now, it's done, as I said, 147,000 miles, this car, but it's got a full service history with it. And it really is comprehensive, so it's been very well looked after, and that's the key to these Mercedes. I've seen Mercs with 500,000 miles on them before. More than capable of doing it, but you've got to maintain them. Don't think just because it's a Mercedes that you can get away with not servicing it. That's not the case. These cars have got a cam chain, and if you've got a cam chain, you need to have the oil circulate in the engine, and that means you've got to have clean oil. So my one tip on these cars is that while they are very strong and very sturdy cars, make sure you buy one that's got a full service history. Now, as I said, this one has got a full service history. It has been very well looked after by the previous owner, and I've just taken it in part exchange, to be honest with you. So I'll show you around the inside and the outside of the car, show you a few of its features, and hopefully it'll be of interest to you. It is a car that we've currently got up for sale, so we'll sort of show you a few elements of it as well, but try and give you a sort of good balanced review. And in the back we have a boot which is among the biggest in its class. In fact, probably the biggest boot you will see this side of a full fat Range Rover. So plenty of space in it, and a fantastic electric powered tailgate as well, which you can use off the key. Makes life a lot easier getting in and out the back. But let's have a look inside. Ample room here in the back, as you'd expect for 5 adults, and heated seats to the rear, as well as a climate control function there, so you can actually control your airflow in the back separately to the front, which you don't get on many cars. And obviously rear heated seats on the 2 outer seats here at the back, add into that feeling of ultimate luxury. There is also a very handy pull down armrest there with cup holders in it. In the front, well, typical Mercedes-Benz opulence. It's got everything, this car. Electric memory seats, obviously The seats are heated up front as well, and I really do love the alcantara and leather combination on these seats in this car. They don't have that cold slidey feeling you get with a straight leather, but they've got all the benefits, and they've worn incredibly well. This car's done 147,000 miles, and look at that. There's not even a mark to the stitching on this, hardly. It's perfect. Really is testament to how these cars are built, really, and yeah, they don't get much better. All the doors on this car do open very wide. You've got a nice low sill on it, so you just step straight into it. That's a really good bonus for a lot of people in terms of accessibility of this car. It does sit a tiny bit lower than a Range Rover as well, and that can be advantageous in itself because, you know, you're not having to step up into it. It's at that sort of sweet spot of ride height. Now, 147,000 miles, I think I've mentioned that a few times. Who could believe it on this car? It's unbelievable. I've just been sat in the car wash and I've ruined the fuel consumption slightly. It was averaging on my commute this morning over 30 to the gallon, and I had a quick look on Parker's, who give you the sort of figures on these cars, and that was saying 31 miles per gallon is the official miles per gallon this model. I think that's very good for it, what it is. I mean, my old Range Rover, which was a similar sort of engine size and power and weight as this, was only doing about 25 to the gallon on that commute, so this car is better on fuel than a Range Rover. We have got the sat nav on this particular car. As you can see, it's a colour screen, and it also houses the Bluetooth for your phone. Got a decent stereo system on here as well. It's a nice easy system to use, and if you've had a Mercedes before, it'll instantly feel familiar because they basically have a very similar system across the entire Mercedes range. These climate controls switches, again, are very simple and easy to use. Separate controls for the passenger and the driver, and there's also one in the back, as I showed you earlier. Very, very clear, very handy just to be able to use without taking your hands off the road, which is very important to me. We've got a fan in the middle there, and that's the direction of the airflow there on the right hand side. Heated seat switches are located just below that. There's a nice grab handle by here, so as if you're perhaps going off-road, or if you've just got a very nervous passenger, they can hang on by there. And well, I just love the fit and finish of the car. The Alcantara trim is beautiful. The silver in here I like. You can get ones with wood in them, but they do look a little bit old-fashioned now. I do prefer the sort of silver inlays that this car's got. And nice clear instrument binnacle there. I'll give it a quick rev for you. As you can see, no warning lights or anything on the car, which is great. And we've got a 7-speed transmission, which has got fully automatic off the column shift here, but you have got manual paddles there should you wish to control those ratios yourself. Overall, just a very nice experience in here. The visibility is excellent. I've got a commanding commanding view of the road. I'm sat up nice and high, like I am in a Range Rover. And I mean, I love a Range Rover, but you have to be honest about it. These are a more reliable car. They have a much better engineering sort of prowess than Mercedes do. I've also got a DSR, which is this sort of the hill assist essentially there, so I can crawl downhill like you do on a Range Rover. Essentially, I've got everything that I would expect on something like a Range Rover, but in a Mercedes package. And I do love a Mercedes. I've had ones with massive miles on them that have just been absolutely perfect, and at 147,000 miles, they don't come much finer than this, to be honest with you. It's absolutely brilliant. But again, that's testament to the guy who owned it before. I took it in part exchange from him. I know for a fact that he looks after his vehicles, and you know, the service history that he supplied me with the car really did go a long way to reassuring me that it was going to be as good as it's turned out it is. Other little toys, well, we got power fold mirrors, electric windows all around, which you would expect on a car of this type, and of course we've got the pedal here for the foot brake. I don't know if you can see that. It's a little pedal that I press. That's my foot brake on, and I release it using a little pull by there. If you've had a Merc before, that'll be instantly familiar to you. It takes no getting used to whatsoever though, and of course with this car being automatic, you very rarely need to use that that foot brake while you're driving the car. You just use it when you park up at night. I've got the biggest cup holders in the world. That one there can take a bottle. It's huge. Storage space under here as well for my phone holder and my phone cables and all that lot. Well, apart from that, guys, not much more to tell you really. If you're looking for something that can tow 3.5 tons, seat 5 adults, will be reliable, looks good, and I think it really does still look good, this shape of ML. I think it's probably one of the nicest shapes they ever did, especially in sport, guys. This is probably the car for you. And you don't see that many of them in white. There's loads of silver ones around, and that's just boring now, isn't it? White just looks the part. Front and rear parking sensors on it, they're all working. I've checked everything on this car. I've done about 70-80 miles in it over the last day or so, and everything on it is working as it should, including the power wash lights and all those odds and sods that you normally find are broken on a car of this age. That's all sort of perfection on it. So yeah, very hard to fault it in any way. I was reading the Parker's review of it. The only fault they had for the whole car, the only negative they had on the pros and cons of it, is it no 7-seater available. Well, no, there probably isn't, but then that's because they do a GL, which is the 7-seat SUV by Mercedes. If you're buying one of these, you only want 5 seats. A Range Rover's only got 5 seats, and that's all people in this sort of market tend to want. If that was the biggest negative they could find on it, who am I to question that? So here you have it, guys. If it's of interest to you, please give us a ring. 07932 873 646 is the number. I'm happy to take part exchange and also arrange delivery of this car anywhere in the UK. So feel free to give me a ring. We can discuss where you are, what you've got to part X, and we can work at a deal to suit you. Also giving £200 off at the moment for NHS and key workers, which we've been running for a long while now, and we will continue to do so because we want to keep rewarding those people. So please get in touch with us, 07932 873 646, and thanks ever so much for watching the video. Please give us a like, a share, and subscribe to our channel for more car buying advice and more cars like this that we have available for sale. And of course, please feel free to comment below. Let us know your own ownership experiences of these cars, and any sort of thing you'd like to add to the conversation. Please feel free to interact, and we will be gladly reading through the comments later on. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope that's been of interest, and we will see you soon.